Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and I thought it was about time we checked back in with the Petrolhead Sim Racing BMW M235i Championship on RaceRoom. When you last saw me in this series, I met an early demise in the barrier at Brands Hatch. Well, since then, I've picked up two 9th place finishes at Laguna Seca to sit 14th in the overall standings. Can I improve on that in today's third round at Zandvoort? Well, it'll be tough, that's for sure. I'm starting this 15-minute sprint race from P12 on the grid. Let's get on track and see what I can do. The lights are out and we are go for a fast and frantic 15-minute sprint around Zandvoort, and I'm going to be really up against it here. This is one of the most difficult tracks in sim racing to overtake on. A good starting position is absolutely vital here, and sadly I just didn't have the qualifying pace to get one. However, I have picked up one position through T1. There was a car out in the gravel to the left. That was Samuel Oliveira. So Oliveira drops right to the back of the pack, promoting me up into P11 on the tail of Passer now. Passer spots a gap up the inside of Jeff Ecott coming through that left-hander. So a good start from Passer. He started alongside me on the 6th row of the grid, but he has climbed up into 9th position. Ecott down to 10th. I'm right behind in 11th. And it looks like the pack behind has spread out a bit. I think there was quite a big incident going through that first section. Let's go back and check out a replay. First, the start, and we're looking for the red BMW of Oliveira, starting from the 3rd row of the grid. He qualified P6. We can just see him to the right of the screen now, and he is going to miss his braking point completely into turn 1. It sends him way out into the gravel. He manages to keep control just, but he is going to rejoin dead last. Now at the next corner there was an even bigger incident. Watch Adam Stewart in that yellow and silver car. He is going to get tagged from behind, but I'm not sure who by. Delon Eisman was the other driver spinning out there in the red, but Paul Iapure was also involved. We'll get a better view from the onboard camera with Helician Heragon here. That's Iapure directly in front, Eisman to the left. Now Heragon is challenging Iapure. They're side by side. There's a bit of contact. Eisman's having a look up the inside of Stewart. Now there may have been contact from behind with Iapure. It's just too difficult to tell. Iapure gets through, so does Heragon. Right, back to the live action. We're jumping forward to almost 1/3 race distance. And remember at the start of the race when I said how difficult it was to overtake here? So it is proving, because it's as you were. I'm still in 11th and I'm still chasing Jeff Ecott. And as we enter T1, it looks like Ecott might have got a little bit close to Jan Janček in 9th there. That forced him to lift a little bit, but I just can't take advantage. Meanwhile, ahead of those two, the only driver who is making progress at the moment is Passer. He started 11th on the grid. He got past Ecott on the first lap. He's now got past Janček to move up into 8th position. And with 10 minutes of this race still to go, anything can happen. And a drive-through penalty for Will McComb. McComb started P4 on the grid, so that is going to promote me up into 10th. Yeah, not for the first time in this championship. Will McComb summoned to pit lane, so that has lifted me into the top 10 in hot pursuit of Jeff Ecott. And is Ecott just started to feel the pressure a bit? We saw a slight mistake exiting that left-hander as he ran out over the curb and the grass. But look how tight it is out there. 6th to 10th, separated by less than 1.5 seconds. And as things stand, we've got Fotis Ciciglu in 6th, Passer in 7th, Jan Janček in 8th, Jeff Ecott 9th, me right behind in 10th. And it looks like there may be a little bit of daylight opening up between Janček and Ecott. 0.7 of a second now between those two. Is this my opportunity to apply yet more pressure on Ecott? Well, applying pressure is one thing. Getting past someone is an entirely different proposition. And just as I say that there's a bit of daylight opening up the pack, Concertina's back together again. And although I'm at the tail end of this group of 5, we all seem to have a bit more pace than Rhino Berger behind. He's dropped back more than 1 second now, and he's going to have company very soon from Oliveira. We saw Oliveira run wide at T1. Meanwhile, in the chicane, Janček might have run in a little bit deep. That forced Ecott wide, and this might be my opportunity. A dive up the inside of Ecott. We're now side by side, but the odds are against me here. Ecott's going to have the inside line for both the final 2 corners. I have to back out, but yeah, I'm really applying pressure now on Ecott. This could be my chance to move up into P9 if I can get a good run out of the final turn. Oh, but I'm just not as smooth as I would have liked. I had to lift momentarily to get the car rotated, and that has cost me speed. Right, jumping forward now to 2/3 race distance. I have just started to drop off this group of 4 ahead. It's now half a second to Ecot, and look behind. I predicted Berger would have company very soon from Oliveira. That's exactly what's happening. Oliveira and Berger side by side in the rearview mirror. Meanwhile, in front, things seem to be getting a little bit spicy in the battle for 7th between Passer and Janček. Janček having a look up the inside as Passer runs a little bit wide through that right-hander. They're side by side, but Passer's going to have the inside line for this upcoming left turn. Meanwhile, there's a tantalising gap on the inside of Ecot there. I've got to go for it, but I just can't get on the gas quickly enough to challenge him. So Ecot is holding on to 9th position for now, but I'm right back on his tail again. In front of him, Passer defending into the chicane, so there's no way through for Janček. Behind, Oliveira has got past Berger. There's so much going on here, I don't know where to look. And yeah, Oliveira is really close now. He was a little bit sideways exiting the chicane, but make no mistake about it, he is properly in contention for the top 10 now. Right, jumping forward to the final stages of the race, just 3 minutes left. And it's still as you were. Zisoglu in 6th, Passer in 7th, Janček 8th, Ecot 9th, me 10th, Oliveira 11th. And there's contact between Passer and Janček. Janček a little bit out of shape. I'm even more out of shape. I just clipped the gravel. Is this the opportunity for Oliveira to challenge? I slam the door shut. I'm doing everything I can now to hold on to this 10th position. Yeah, that was my first mistake and first incident point of the race, but sadly I'm going to make an even more costly error coming into the chicane. I just breached track limits. Not only do I get an incident point, I get handed a slowdown penalty at the worst possible time, under real pressure from the faster Oliveira. Immediately I go defensive in the hope that I can spend this slowdown penalty without surrendering my position, but I am up against it here. Oliveira smelling blood. And my line through those final 2 turns hasn't even made a dent in the penalty, sadly. I've still got to give back nearly half a second. So I think the best thing I can do is stay out wide, lift a little bit earlier, and maybe lure Oliveira into making a dive up the inside, hoping that he might outbrake himself, and he does do. So I've given some time back, and there's a gap on the inside for me to fight right back and reclaim 10th position. Oh, but look, I haven't served the penalty. There's still 0.2 of a second left on it. How disappointing. I've only got 10 seconds left to clear it now. This is situation critical. I'm going to have to lift on exit in the hope of clearing this penalty before the clock hits 0. I just about managed it, but it has cost me my exit speed. This is surely the opportunity Oliveira's been waiting for. We're side by side now through one of the most dangerous sections of the track. Oh, this is terrifying. Nothing between us. We're on the verge of disaster. Now we're banging doors. Neither driver wanting to give an inch, but it looks like Oliveira has done it. He's made the pass. And having to defend with the added distraction of a slowdown penalty proved just too much, but I might get an opportunity to hit right back here because there's a gap on the inside. I need to hold it as tight as I possibly can, and I just light up the rears on exit. That's going to cost me a bit of momentum coming out of the corner. Oliveira managed to stay alongside me the entire time. There was no opportunity to close the line off, and try as I might, I am down to 11th position. And I think my hopes of finishing in the top 10 have just taken a big hit there. I know that Oliveira is a faster driver than me. Started up in P6 on the grid. I know he's got pace, and I think it's going to be tricky to even stay with him here, but that is what I'm going to try to do over this final lap and a bit. I mean, I don't fancy my chances of being able to get past Oliveira, but if I can just apply as much pressure as I can, you never know, I may be able to force him into making a mistake. Through the final corner then, we're going to have 1 lap to go. The pack ahead have cleared off. They're more than 3 seconds away. Big dust cloud though, and it's Janček coming back onto the track. We both see him at the last possible second, and that has promoted me back into the top 10. So something big has happened down the start-finish straight. Let's go back and check out the replay. And it was another coming together between Passer and Janček. Janček getting forced out onto the grass, then into the barrier. He tries to get back on track as quickly as possible. Oh, Oliveira and me so lucky to avoid him. Rhino Berger wasn't so lucky, ploughing in to the damaged Janček. And looking at it from another angle, I can only assume that Passer didn't see Janček in his radar as he moves back over to the outside of the track. Janček's already there, so there's nowhere for Janček to go now except for the barrier. And as I predicted, over the final lap, I didn't have the pace to challenge Oliveira. In fact, on the penultimate turn, I clipped the curb again and got handed another slowdown penalty. So any faint hope I did have of challenging down the final straight evaporated there and then. So I'm going to cross the line in 10th position. However, after the race, I am going to get promoted up to 9th. The stewards investigated that incident a lap ago and disqualified both drivers. Passer for the contact and Janček for the rejoin. Well, what a scrap it was with Oliveira here. I don't think I've ever battled so closely with someone and emerged from it unscathed. Absolutely brilliant racing. Well, after all that fun, we've still got a 30-minute feature race to go, and it is underway. Terrible start for Jeff Ecott in front of me. Is there space for me to squeeze in between Ecott on the left and Oliveira on the right? I'm going to have to be really careful if we're going into turn 1 3 wide, so I do just back out. Paul Iapure, though, taking full advantage, swooping up the inside. He had fairly hefty contact with Ecott as well, but I think Ecott survived it and is still on track to the left. Yeah, there he is. I've got Heragon alongside me, so this is going to be really tricky through this corner 2 wide. Trying my absolute hardest to leave a car's width to my left, and still I've got to through this left-hander. Oh, it looks like we've lost Heragon. I hope there wasn't contact there. I tried not to squeeze him through that corner. We'll have to go back and check out the replay shortly. I mean, there is that race curb on the inside that is absolutely lethal if you catch it wrong. Meanwhile, in front, there's a car sliding right across track, and that is Lasse Passer. Somehow, both Ecott and Oliveira managed to avoid him. Now we've got Ecott and Paul Iapure out wide in the next corner, and there's contact now between Ecott and Oliveira. So Iapure demoted from 7th down to 9th. I'm still in 10th. Ecott defending that 8th position, taking the inside line into this right-hander. There's no way around for Iapure there. I can get alongside Iapure, but I'm going to have the outside for this upcoming left-hander, so I probably can't get the job done here. Well, I was actually looking for the switchback with a wider entry, but I positioned myself just a bit too close to Iapure. I didn't have the space to cut back in. So I'm holding on to the top 10 position at the moment. There's already 1 second back to Iceman in 11th, so that's encouraging. Into the chicane for the first time. Iapure a little bit out of shape. Is he going to hold on to this one? I'm just hanging off, getting on the accelerator, and Iapure has gone. Now, I hung back just enough to avoid contact, but we're going to have to look at the replay of that one as well. Yeah, 2 people spinning out right next to me on this opening lap. I hope it wasn't my fault. This is the first one with Heragon. Now, I'm trying as hard as I possibly can to leave a car's width on the inside. Did I squeeze him a bit too much there? I think there was just about a car's width. Let's take another look from the chopper cam. It's really tricky through this corner, and then do I leave enough space on the inside? It's tight. It's very tight, and possibly that's what squeezed Heragon onto that race curb. Thankfully, he managed to save it, though. He did really well to save it, actually, and only lost 1 position to Iceman. Passer wasn't so lucky, though. He got squeezed out onto the grass and a spectacular slide right through the chasing pack. And now let's look at Iapure's spin. Now, did I give him a nudge along the way? I thought I held back just enough to avoid contact. Is there daylight between the 2 cars? Yes, there is. So a really lively first lap of this feature race here at Zandvoort. We're rejoining the race 4 minutes in. I'm now in quite a lonely 9th position. I'm already nearly 1.5 seconds behind Ecott, and I've got an advantage of nearly 3 seconds over Iceman in 10th. Now, I fear that I'm going to start struggling with tyre wear through the second half of this race. I was losing grip at the end of the 15-minute sprint race earlier, so with another 15 minutes on top, I think the end of this race is going to be really tricky. But for now, I've got to push because I want to try and keep up with this pack ahead, and there's a mistake from Oliveira. Did he get a nudge from Ecott, or did he just lose the rear exit of the penultimate turn? Whatever the cause, he is now down into 8th position, and I am within a second of him. And much like in the first race, it is so close in front. We've got Fotis Ciciglu in 5th, Melvin Brandt 6th, Jeff Ecott 7th, Samuel Oliveira in 8th, and all 4 of them separated by less than a second now. You can see just how close they are as we sweep through that first corner, and it does feel like I'm getting closer now. It's just 0.6 of a second to Oliveira ahead. The gap behind to Heragon more than 4 seconds, so there's no pressure at all behind. Oh, this pack are really bunching together now. You can throw a blanket over all 4 of them. Ecott takes a nudge from Oliveira behind. Oliveira uses that to force his way through into 7th position, and that is going to give me the opportunity to challenge Ecott. Ecott down on power, but he cleverly positions himself on the inside, so I've got no choice but to go wide. We're side by side, more contact ahead. Brandon Oliveira banging doors. That sends Oliveira out into the gravel, and Fotis Ciciglu also out into the gravel after missing the apex. That's 2 positions gained straight away, and it could be 3 because I'm all over the rear of Jeff Ecott now. Well, I've got a feeling of deja vu. This is the first race all over again. Me swarming over the rear of Econ, trying to find a way through, only this time it's for the top 6. Now, I suspect that Brand has got the pace to clear off. He's in contention for a top 3 in this championship, but whether I can stick with Econ depends on whether I can stop making mistakes like that. I just clipped the gravel and it costs me a load of exit speed. But let's go back and check out the replay of this fantastic fight. And look how close Melvin Brandt is to Ziciclu. He couldn't be any closer. In fact, I think there's contact. I think that's what causes the rear of Ziciclu to step out there. He does so well to save it. But look how close we all are coming round this section of track. The key instant, though, is Brandt on the inside and Oliveira on the outside. Brandt just tags the rear of Oliveira, sending him out into the gravel. Meanwhile, just in front of him, Ziciclu was also out into the sand. Well, I said a little while ago that I was worried about tyre wear, and sure enough, it became a real problem for me. I was pushing so hard in that first 10 minutes. I had little to no grip left, and still 19 minutes of the race to go. As a result, I am losing ground fast on Jeff Ecott, and look in the rearview mirror, Oliveira closing in equally fast. We've only just passed the halfway point of the race. Oliveira now is lapping about half a second quicker than me, and I make exactly the same mistake as I did in race 1. Once again, I'm going to get a slow down penalty. So once again, I find myself defending against Oliveira while trying to spend this slow down penalty. So yeah, talk about deja vu. This really is race 1 repeating itself, only this time I haven't got to defend for just a couple of laps. I've got to defend for the best part of 15 minutes. Realistically, I know I'm not going to be able to do it. As I said just a moment ago, Oliveira lapping around half a second quicker than I am. He's going to make a move up the inside. I've still got to spend this slow down penalty, so I'm just going to let him move up the inside here. Given that I'm struggling so much with the car already, it makes sense for me to try and follow him. But as we jump forward to the final stages of the race, I wasn't even able to do that. Oliveira has opened up a 2.5 second advantage and left me looking over my shoulder, because now I've got Jan Janček closing in fast as well. So it's going to be unlikely that I even hold on to 8th, particularly when I make a mistake like that. Like I said, I'm struggling for grip. I can't get the car turned as I'd like. Another big mistake, and that is an open invitation for Janček to tuck it up the inside into T1. So now I find myself down into P9. Can I even stay in the top 10 here? Well, thankfully the answer was yes. Let's say Passer behind was faster, but not fast enough to close that gap in before the checkered flag came out. The 6 second advantage was reduced to 2 seconds, but thankfully the clock ran out and the checkered flag came out, and I managed to hold on to this 9th position. So yeah, another incredibly intense evening of racing with Petrolhead Sim Racing, and I've managed to match my positions from Laguna a fortnight ago. Another pair of 9th place finishes see me hold on to my 14th position in the standings. However, I am now level on points with Samuel Oliveira and only 2 points behind Bogdan Karamitoglu and Gabriel Tapux. If you like what you've seen on screen tonight, I'll leave a link to Petrolhead Sim Racing's Discord in the description to this video. Feel free to check them out. And if you want to watch these races in full, I'd thoroughly recommend checking out the official Petrolhead Sim Racing stream. They broadcast each round, and the commentary from Michael Tute is absolutely spot on. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you back on the grid again very soon. Cheers.